I was in 50 crib, no roaches and all that, me in a little spot, small spot. Nobody believes in that. We playing Get Rich or Die Trying already in the crib. You had half that done. Like, all right. Cool. I'm like, everybody get confused. Because they don't think that your dream is gonna come. But you gotta, you know what I mean? That's why I respect him. Because we had more of an assist. We had 50 Cent. So I knew I was okay.
Jim Jones just picked the wrong fight, and Uncle Murda's not staying quiet about it. Things got real when Jim tried to clown Tony Yayo for saying that 50 Cent takes better care of his people than Jay-Z. But that move backfired big time. Uncle Murda, who's been close to both the Rockefeller and G-Unit camps, stepped in and dropped some straight up truth, and the internet went crazy over it. Murda made it clear. 50's been holding down his day ones for decades. He keeps his people tight, loyal, and paid. It's not just business with him, it's real family vibes. Meanwhile, Jay-Z, once you stop being useful, that Rock Nation brunch invite vanishes faster than a hit record off the charts. Fans started chiming in, saying Jay runs things like a coal corporation. No feelings, just contracts. But with 50, it's different. It's personal. It's loyalty. It's love. Let's rewind for a second. This whole firestorm started when Tony Yayo kept it 100 in an interview and spoke from the heart. He said what a lot of folks were already thinking, that Jay doesn't really look out for his people the same way 50 does. According to Yayo, 50 always makes sure his crew is straight, flying them out, putting them on tours, sliding them into TV roles, and making sure they eat good. That's why his circle stays loyal, and his name still rings bells today. All 50 Cent ever asked for in return is loyalty. Nothing more, nothing less. But the second Jim Jones jumped in, things took a wild turn. During a chat with Memphis Bleak, Jim started throwing shade at Tony Yayo, calling him broke and saying he's still depending on 50 just to stay relevant. That's when Uncle Murda came swinging hard and shut that talk down fast. Murda hit Jim with a line that had the internet shaking. Jay got business partners, but 50 got brothers. That one cut deep, because it wasn't just a diss, it was a whole truth bomb. Jay builds empires, sure, but 50, he builds bonds.
I knew I was okay. He sold 11 million records. Even motherfucker, he had deals with Jay-Z and them, but Jay-Z ain't gonna never. I always tell him all the time, Jay-Z ain't treat you like this.
Murda wasn't just defending 50 Cent, he was pulling back the curtain on what real loyalty looks like versus that corporate loyalty vibe. Soon as that clip hit the timeline, the streets lit up. Everyone started picking sides. Some said Jim was out of pocket for clowning Yayo, while others claim Murda just reminded the whole industry who the real boss is. 50 keeps his people close because they've earned it from day one. Loyalty isn't just a word to him, it's the code he lives by. And Uncle Murda and Tony Yayo just made that loud and clear. Both Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda kept it real. They said Jay-Z never showed Murda the same love that 50 Cent did. And according to Yayo, it's simple. 50 never forgot who was around when he had nothing. Back when he was broke, hustling, and grinding for every dollar, those same people stood by him. So now that he's up, he's keeping them fed, flying, and living good. That's loyalty in motion. But here's where things really start heating up. The internet is split down the middle. Some folks are riding for Jim Jones, saying Yayo's still living off 50 and that Jay-Z doesn't need to show off his generosity online like 50 does. They argue that just because Jay doesn't post it doesn't mean he isn't helping behind the scenes, that maybe he's just keeping his blessings quiet. But then you got the other side, people dragging Jim for stepping into drama that wasn't even his lane to begin with. One user fired off, Jim Jones running his mouth like he ran when somebody put hands on him. Another fan said straight up, we all know Jimmy doing the most just to stay relevant. And someone else dropped, Jim said he better than Yayo, enough said. The comment section went wild. Everyone's choosing sides, the tension's real, and this whole situation's getting messy fast. Now let's really talk about that fire line from Uncle Murda. Jay got business partners, but 50 got brothers. That wasn't just some slick bar. That came from real experience. Uncle Murda's time with Rockefeller was short, barely a year before he bounced to G-Unit, and once he linked with 50, he finally saw what true loyalty looked like. See, 50 Cent doesn't just keep you around for clout or business deals, he brings you into his world. He puts you on, teaches you how to move smart, and make sure you win. Tony Yayo's been riding with 50 since those early G-Unit mixtape days, and decades later, 50's still getting him international tour bags. That's not just friendship, that's a brotherhood built on loyalty and hustle. And it's deeper than private jets, luxury suites, or designer fits. 50's about wealth, legacy, and empowerment. Yayo even revealed that 50 taught him how to manage his money, invest smart, and build long-term security. And get this, Uncle Murda said that after signing with 50, he was finally able to buy his first house. That's not just loyalty, that's leadership. When Uncle Murda joined G-Unit, everything flipped. His mindset, his money, his whole game leveled up because 50 Cent showed him how to move like a boss. 50 Cent didn't just toss Uncle Murda a verse or give him a quick shout out. He brought him into the business. He gave him real opportunities, put money in his pocket, and kept his name buzzing in the streets. That's the difference with 50. He doesn't treat his people like temporary co-workers. He treats them like family. Once you're solid with him, you're solid for life. 50's built a whole legacy of loyalty. Not just contracts and checks, but real bonds that last decades. But when you look over at Jay-Z's circle, the vibe couldn't be more different. Jay moves like a CEO running a billion-dollar corporation. Everything's business, nothing's personal. You're in when it benefits both sides, and when it doesn't, you're out. No emotions, no warning, no goodbye. And the proof's in the history. Just look at Dame Dash, Kanye West, Beanie Siegel, all key players who helped shape Jay's come up. And one by one, he cut them off and never looked back. Once you're no longer part of the brand, it's like you disappear from the blueprint. And it didn't even stop there. Remember Jazzo, the man who literally put Jay on? Jazz was mentoring him way before the world even knew who Jay-Z was, and even he got left behind. But once Jay-Z climbed to the top, everything changed. He switched up and left Jazzo in the dust. That bond was supposed to be forever, but fame, power, and money flipped the whole dynamic. Then there's DeHaven, one of Jay's oldest friends from the Marcy Projects, a man who looked out for him in the early days, kept him close, and helped him before the fame ever came. But when Jay turned corporate, it was like DeHaven never even existed. DeHaven later went public claiming Jay lied on his name, called him a snitch, and completely turned his back on him. And when people asked DeHaven how he felt about it, you could hear the pain in his voice. He said, "Who was I to him? I guess I was just useful until I wasn't." That line hit fans deep. It painted a cold picture of how loyalty fades once money and status step in. So when Uncle Murda dropped that now famous bar, Jay got business partners, but 50 got brothers. It wasn't just slick talk. It was a straight up truth bomb. Jay moves like a businessman, strategic, polished, always thinking about the brand. But loyalty doesn't seem to fit in that equation. Nobody ever calls Jay loyal. They call him calculated, brilliant, and corporate. But with 50, you can trace his loyalty all the way back to the start. The same people who grinded with him back in the day are still standing beside him now. And if someone's missing from that circle, best believe it's because they switched up, not him. That's the real difference between 50 Cent and Jay-Z. One builds brotherhoods, the other builds boardrooms. What separates 50 from the rest is how he never forgot who was there when things got rough. Back when nobody wanted to work with him after that infamous Queens incident, his day one stayed by his side, and he never let that loyalty go to waste. When 50 blew up, he didn't ditch his crew for industry clout. He brought his real ones with him. That's why you still see Yayo Banks and Uncle Murda beside him all these years later. They're not employees, they're family. Behind the scenes, people even say 50 treats loyalty like a business model. And honestly, it shows. He invests in his people not just with money, but with opportunity. He gives them platforms, connects them to producers, and teaches them how to flip their street hustle into real, sustainable income. Fans online pointed out that 50 doesn't just hand out help. He teaches his team how to win on their own. He's not trying to babysit anyone. He wants them to build their own legacies. That's power and principle in one. Meanwhile, when it comes to Jay-Z, the talk online is totally different. People say Jay's always been playing chess, not checkers. Every move, every relationship is strategic. To him, connections are business pieces. Official, profitable, but not personal. And the second something doesn't fit the brand or that billion-dollar image, it fades quietly into the background like it never existed. People still respect Jay-Z as a business mastermind. No question about that. But even his own fans admit it's lonely at the top. When your empire is built on deals instead of devotion, the vibe hits different. Fans online started comparing the energy between the two camps, G-Unit versus Rock Nation, and it's like night and day. When G-Unit links up, it feels like a reunion of brothers who genuinely rock with each other. There's laughter, love, and loyalty in the air. But when Rock Nation shows up, it looks more like a corporate mixer. Everyone dressed sharp, checking their watches, talking business instead of brotherhood. That's exactly what Uncle Murda meant when he said 50 builds brothers, not just brands. Even industry insiders have hinted that 50's loyalty is the real reason he's still respected across so many circles. Rappers, actors, producers, they all say the same thing. If 50 rocks with you, He rocks with you for real. And that kind of energy, it's rare in a game where people switch sides the moment money's on the table. What's crazy is 50's version of loyalty isn't just emotional, it's strategic. He's shown over and over that taking care of your people only makes your empire stronger. Every move he makes, whether it's TV, music, or business, always includes the same circle that's been with him since day one. When he dropped Power, he gave his day ones real opportunities, roles, production credits, and life-changing connections. And when BMF hit the screens, he made sure familiar faces from his story got their shine too. That's why people keep calling him one of the realest in entertainment, because with 50, loyalty ain't a slogan, it's a lifestyle. The receipts are everywhere. Fans can literally see the proof. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda are still rocking stages around the world because 50 keeps them booked and relevant. Even beyond music, he's plugging his people into film roles, podcasts, business ventures, and touring opportunities. It's like he doesn't just chase success, he shares it. That mindset is rare in an industry built on ego, envy, and competition. Meanwhile, social media's been lit with comparisons between how 50 treats his crew versus how other moguls move. One fan joked that being in the 50s circle is like having lifetime job security, while another said being around Jay-Z feels like an unpaid internship. Good until the networking ends. That joke hit hard online because beneath the humor, there's some real truth hiding in plain sight. But beyond the memes and the laughs, there's a deeper message here. Both men represent two totally different kinds of power. Jay-Z's approach is all about corporate positioning. He builds through silence, control, and exclusivity. He's about the brand first, feelings later. But 50, he leads through connection, loyalty, and shared wins. One values privacy, the other values presence. And honestly, that's why fans ride so hard for 50. Because he doesn't just talk about loyalty, he lives it every single day. That's what Uncle Murda and Tony Yayo keep trying to explain. This whole debate ain't about who's richer or who's got more plaques on the wall. It's about who's realer. And every single time 50 brings his people along for another ride, he reminds the whole game what real loyalty actually looks like. That kind of success just hits different when your whole team's eating with you. At the end of the day, it really comes down to this. 50 Cent moves with loyalty first, while Jay-Z moves with strategy first. And honestly, neither approach is wrong, but one definitely feels more real and human. 50's the type who never forgets where he came from or who was beside him when he had nothing. And now that he's on top, he makes sure those same people are right there eating good too. That's why fans respect him on another level. His success doesn't feel selfish, it feels shared. You can tell he wants everyone around him to win. Jay-Z, on the other hand, plays the long game like a true chess master. Every move, every deal, every friendship, it's all part of a bigger plan. He's built an empire that's practically untouchable, but that power comes with a price: distance. His relationships feel smooth, professional, and carefully curated, but not always personal. That's the trade-off right there. Strategy can build you a billion-dollar brand, but loyalty builds you a family that'll ride with you forever. And right now, the internet's still going wild debating who's the better boss, Jay with his empire or 50 with his loyalty. But truth be told, it's not even about money anymore. It's about energy, legacy, and who's really real. 50's loyalty hits different because it feels real. You can see it every time he's clowning around with Yayo on stage, shouting out Uncle Murda on Instagram, or putting his people in positions to win big. That's what fans mean when they say 50 don't switch up, because he doesn't. He stays solid, no matter how high he climbs. Yeah, Jay might run the boardrooms and own the billionaire chessboard, but 50 runs the hearts of his crew and his fans. That's why this whole conversation blew up online, because it's bigger than hip-hop. It's about the difference between business love and real love. One is about profit, the other's about people. But now I gotta know what you think. Do you ride with 50's loyalty, or do you respect Jay's strategy more? Drop your thoughts down below. I'm reading every single comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more raw celebrity breakdowns and untold stories, because I've got plenty more tea coming your way. And before you go, hit that next video on your screen. Trust me, it's even messier than this one. See you in the next one.